Hi there and welcome to this week's Throwback Thursday where myself and Parrot Pete are talking all about why selling isn't sleazy. So keep watching to find out why. Today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about why I think sales isn't sleazy, and I really want to tackle this first because it's one of the most common things that I come up against. Oh, hi Heather. It's one of the most common things that I come up with. I come up against people who are scared to sell their product or service. And that's for all sorts of different reasons. And I've got a real problem with that because this is what I do. This is really what I'm involved with because selling's important. It's important for your business. It's important for your life. It's important to get what you want out of all the different things that you're involved with. So selling and feeling really comfortable and really excited about that is super important. So the better you can feel about that, the more comfortable you can feel about that, the better you're going to be. So the first thing I want to kind of tackle is like why we feel like that, and I think that's because sales has got such a poor name. We've all been sold to. We've been sold to by car salesmen. We've been sold to by double glazing salespeople. We've had people ring us at 6 o'clock just as we're sitting down for our tea. All of these different things we've had people coming in for. And you know what? We didn't like it, and we didn't like it for a number of different reasons. The first thing is how they sell. It's a very old-fashioned way of selling. And quite often they say, hi, how are you? You're looking for a car? Great. What kind of colour do you want? Brilliant. There's one over there. Do you want to buy it? We quite often feel it's really quick. It's really to the point. It's not actually listening to us, and it can be quite pushy. There's a lot of things that are talked about in sales around pain selling. So yeah, one of the things I'm talking about is how I don't pain sell and how I don't think you should either. But one of those things is that I think we've all been in that situation where we feel that we've been pushed into something, that we're uncomfortable, and that's made us not want to sell. I didn't want to sell. And the first time someone said that I should go into sales, I was like, yeah, that's not happening, because I had such a poor impression of it. But actually, you know what? This isn't about selling. It's about how we sell. And I think that's the key difference. So you don't need to be concerned about selling. You need to think about that approach. And I can promise you that if you have felt uncomfortable in a sales situation and you've thought, I don't like what's happening here, I don't like the way that person's speaking to me, I don't like how I'm being pushed, I don't like how I'm being pressured, I don't like how they're playing on my fear, the great thing is that you recognised it and therefore you don't need to do that. Because there's so many different things you can do instead. Yeah, it's all about how you sell. And if you start to think about how you sell, then you're going to stop being afraid because you're suddenly going to realise that you do it all the time. So let's not think about business. Let's think about our personal lives. Some of you on here may have heard me talk before about all the times that we sell in our lives. We sell to our children all the time. We're constantly bargaining with kids. You know, it'll be really exciting. We'll go to the supermarket, we'll go around, you can sit in the trolley. At the end, you can see the nice lady and you can put some beepy things through. It'll be brilliant. You're absolutely selling that trip to the supermarket. Your kids don't want to go to the supermarket. Hi there, Jordan. Your kids don't want to go to the supermarket, so you're selling to them. And I think really this is where we do this every day. So we sell to our kids, we sell to our partners, we negotiate quite often with our partner. What we actually do is we actually go around and we say, all right, well, if you do this, I'll do that. It's negotiation, it's a part of sales. So we can all sell, it's all just about how we actually do it. So my key thing is about, it's the oh Lord, not the sales pattern. Yeah, it's the whole sales pattern thing. As soon as you start to think about selling, we start to think about, I've got to have a pattern, I've got to have a pitch, I've got to be getting money out of it. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And then we start to feel like all of those people out there that we felt have done a really poor job at pressure selling it. Yeah, Jerry, you're doing it every day. Yeah, selling yourself. Selling yourself is huge. So the first thing that you need to really do if you're like scared of selling is you need to start to think about why. Are you actually scared of having a conversation? Because I can guarantee you're not. You're not scared of having a conversation. You know why? Because if you're scared of having a conversation, you wouldn't have talked to anybody today. And I know that everybody on here will have had a conversation, either face to face, on the phone, by email. You've talked to people, you've communicated. And that's actually, oh, Jordan, you're from Newcastle. Why are you? You're not scared. But the point is that you've had conversations. So if you're having conversations, then actually you can sell. Selling is simply a conversation with a purpose. And the purpose is to actually discuss your product or service, and then at the end of that, potentially ask for some money for it. So that's okay, you can totally do that. So that's a great point Jerry's making there. In order to have that conversation, the starting point is to know your product. Do you know your product? Can you talk about it confidently, in a secure way, and in all different environments? Because the other thing is, we are talking about our products every single day. We're talking about our services every day. So you need to be able to flex your approach. So have a bit of a think, am I actually really comfortable talking about my product? If there's something that I'm unsure about, if I'm not sure about stuff, then that's the kind of thing that's going to make me feel nervous. So make sure, first of all, you're really comfortable there. And there was a great comment just came up there. It was just flashing off there saying, understand your customer's point of view. Well, thanks for adding me, Jerry. And understanding your customer's point of view is really important, because once you're confident and comfortable with your product or service, the next thing is to think about how you're going to apply that to your customer. And we need to understand their point of view. It's what's in it for them. What's in it for them? What are they interested in? And you know what? Quite often, what we think is important and what our customer thinks are important are two different things. I think, negotiation as well. I think that it's really important that I deliver interesting sales training with lots of knowledge and understanding and all my 15 years experience behind it. Right, you know what? My customer's probably not interested in that. They're interested in, can I take these people and deliver that result with them? What's in it for them? That's what they're focused on. Yeah, Tiana, it's what's in it for them. They don't care actually how much my background is or anything like that. I mean, they want some of that for credibility. But really what they're looking at is, can I deliver the result? So that's the second bit. The first thing is know your product or service. Second thing is know what's in it for your customer. And if you're talking to different customers, you've got to know what appeals to those different people. Yeah, Jerry, they want the bottom line. Get to the point. What's in it for me? Because you know what? I haven't got half an hour to sit and just hear you go on and on and on. The other thing is if you know those things, then all of a sudden it's really easy to start to have conversations around those things, because you're already having a conversation. You're listening now for the triggers about what they're interested in. And it might be it's a really natural match very early on in the conversation, which allows you to start to talk about your product or service. So straight away you've got an in. Jerry, I'll do a bit of an intro a bit later on. I'm a sales trainer and consultant. My company is Buzztastic. I'm buzztastically brilliant. I'm down in Monkseen. So those two things are really clear. The other thing I want to throw in the equation here is how you can absolutely sell with honesty and integrity. And in fact, I feel that's key. If you want to be successful in sales, you've got to have honesty in order to be successful. Because again, this is why we've got such a poor view of sales, because occasionally we've been lied to. So that's okay. If you don't want to sell like that, you don't have to sell like that. And in fact, I personally would never recommend you sell with anything less than total honesty and integrity. Yeah, absolutely. Car sales. I mean, it's just awful. We've all had that experience. So the great thing is you don't have to do it. Do it with honesty. Do it with integrity. Have a conversation. Yeah, show your personal values. Think about what's in it for your customer. What exactly are they interested in? And I've got another little trick, and this is my last minute little trick for just before you're going in to a sales meeting, or you're just about to pick up the phone to make that sales call. And that is to power pose. Some of you might have come across this before. I'm sitting down at the moment, so I'm going to give you my sitting down power pose. It is my shoulders back, my hands on my hips, my chin up. I'm smiling, deep breath. And even sitting down doing this actually starts a flow of testosterone around your body, which is going to give you a little confidence boost. So if you're about to go into some networking, or power pose, Gianni, you might have heard it from me before. I'm so big on it. There's all different ways you can pose to get this sort of effect. But by doing this, you can get this one-off rush around your body, which is quite short-lived, but will actually give you that little boost of thinking, yeah, I can do this. I think one of my other top tips about fear of selling as well is really about get out there and do it. Just give it a go. You know what? If you are being a lovely person and having a conversation, then you know what? If someone doesn't buy your things, it doesn't matter. Because you've got the relationship. And people buy from people, you know, we hear it all the time. But people really buy from people they like. In fact, there's been a study out recently that says that the very best thing you can do to objection handle is actually just to be nice to the person. I couldn't believe it. No tricks, no techniques, actually just be nice. Oh, hi Dee, thanks for joining. Just being nice will actually get salespeople past more objections, which was something I was really surprised at. So that's definitely something to think about as well. And if you're interested in that research, drop me a line and I can send that to you. So being nice is really important, because the other thing is that if you have a great relationship, then even if someone doesn't buy off you right this second, then actually they might buy off you down the line. I've got customers who, you know, weren't customers 2 years ago when we first met, but because I kept and maintained that relationship, people actually worked with me that little bit longer. And the next thing that we knew, 2 years on, they've actually come up and taken me on board. So it just goes to show, keep the relationship. And if you actually get to the point where you feel that you can't talk about your product or your service, try and identify why that is. Because quite often, if you're doing all of this and you're still feeling a bit icky, the point at which you're feeling icky is really important. And if you can identify that, you can start to do something about it. So for example, if you start to feel icky while you're talking about money, I can give you a separate set of tools around that, or there's different ways you can overcome that. If you start to feel icky when you start to talk about timescales, then again, there's stuff we can do around that. If there's objections, then again, all the way through this, depending on when in the process you're starting to feel nervous, you're starting to feel uncomfortable, there's different approaches that you can actually take to overcome those things. So the things that I've given you today have really been quite big picture. They've really been quite sort of overviewy about that overall fear of selling, that thing that you've got in a box saying, no, I don't want to sell, I feel terrible, I can't do that. So the key things that I was giving you there were, firstly is, you can absolutely sell because you do it every day. You don't have to be a double glazing salesperson or a car salesperson. You can actually sell by building relationships. You already know how to do that. You need to know your product or service really, really well, inside out. If you've got a single question, you need to get that resolved before you start to talk to other people about it. You need to understand your customer's point of view. Actually, the bottom line, just like Jerry said earlier on, what's the bottom line? What are they ultimately interested in? What's in it for them? Because then you can work back through everything that you're sharing with them. I think the other thing there was really sort of thinking about the bigger picture. It's thinking, hi Carl, it's thinking about that bigger picture. As I work through this process, how's that actually going to work for me? And you know, if I actually find that I'm starting to lose my nerve at some point through this process, then what I need to do is actually take note of when that is, so that I can look at the tools that are available to help me overcome at that particular point. Sometimes it's a tool, sometimes it's an approach, but there's all sorts of things you can do there.
Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this Throwback Thursday, then remember to hit the subscribe button and ding that bell to be notified next time that I upload. So until then, just remember to be salestastic.